you all for coming. My name is Father Pius Petrick. I am the Vice Chair of the Board of Directors for the Legal Services Corporation. And it's really exciting for me to be here. I am the son and brother of emergency care workers, so to be in an emergency care place like this, or emergency management center, is quite extraordinary. In fact, my mother was an emergency room nurse for her entire career, mostly in Michigan and Arizona. But my sister is a paramedic right here in New York. She, for many years, was an EMT right in the city. As a matter of fact, she worked here on that fateful day on September 11, 2001. She's now far, way north of here, upstate New York, in a place called Westchester County. So way north of here, in Greenburgh. But I remember how worried we were for my sister. Like every EMT in the area, she was called down to New York. And she related a little bit afterwards of the story. She worked at the time for Catholic Health Services, based out of Long Island, the island, in fact, which we are on now, but made her way down to Ground Zero. And as they were going, her partner she calls it the bus, in the ambulance, noticed that everybody kept kneeling as they would drive by. And he asked my sister, well, why do these people keep kneeling? And she responded in that typically New York way, you idiot. There's a giant cross on the side of our bus, going through the streets through 9/11, and it brought them a sense of reverence and a sense of hope. You know, I've been staying back again in New York at our parish in Greenwich Village, and I would say that the sound of New York is the sound of sirens. They go off all the time. And when you're trying to sleep, it can be a little annoying, but when you're in need of help, when you're in need of care, it can be the sound of hope. The sound of the sirens of the ambulance, or of the fire truck, or of the police car. For many people, sound of hope. And we in legal services owe a debt of gratitude, we all do, to the men and women who spend so much of their time and life and energy helping those who are in desperate need. My sister's a tough as nails New York paramedic, but she still gets emotional every year right around September 11th. It's hard for her, it's hard for so many people. And we forget sometimes about the people who have dedicated so much of their lives to caring for others, not just on September 11th, but on every day. So I do want to take a note to thank them, all the people who engage in emergency management services. And we hope in legal services, we're not here to replace emergency management. We depend on the emergency personnel and the first responders. But we can provide some aid in legal services after the disaster comes to help a community rebuild. And it's something that we've been focusing on in legal services for the last several years. You know, legal services, even since the 90s, especially with the variety of hurricanes and typhoons, but especially starting with Hugo in 92 and the Midwest floods in 93, have received appropriations to allow us to assist those who have been so sorely affected by these disasters. And I recall, especially in my own mind, our January 2013 meeting. We were meeting in Louisiana. If you've ever been to the Supreme Court in Louisiana, they have a motto for the Supreme Court, Fiat Justitia Ruat Caelum, which means, let justice prevail though the heavens fall. I said to the former vice chair, Martha Minow, who is also my co-chair on this task force, that this should be the motto of our task force. Let justice prevail though the heavens fall. And we then began, especially with our announcement in with our October 2017 meeting in Cambridge, as we began to discuss more fully the role of legal services in disaster recovery, leading up to our announcement in April of 2008 of this particular task force, the work that we would do. And following the lead that John Levy gave us with our other task force, we brought together not just legal services folks talking to legal services folks, but emergency management people, about people who had expertise in the field of disaster recovery and disaster relief, government workers, private industry, federal, state, local, all coming together to talk about the ways in which legal services can prepare itself for disaster and can be so crucial in the involvement of the recovering community after disaster. And I am very proud of the expertise that we brought together. I know very little about disaster recovery. Working as the son of healthcare workers, the only thing I knew is I did not want to go into the healthcare field. They worked really hard, did a lot of work, and it was very difficult. But I learned a lot from these people, and I think the results of our report, as you'll see, we've already learned a lot. We've already seen conversations between legal services folks and folks in disaster recovery that have made some good relationships. And I think we are in legal services better prepared for ourselves better prepared for our clients, and better prepared to help this nation recover after the disasters that it will invariably encounter. So thank you all who have been here for your work in emergency management. Thank you all for your contribution to this report. And thank you all for the important and ongoing work of helping our fellow citizens recover from a disaster. Thank you.